and welcome to the Get Life Energy YouTube channel. Thanks for coming by. Today I've got a video for you in response to a question from Mr. Ben B. Thank you so much, Ben, for submitting this question to me. If you have any questions that you want me to answer, please leave them in the comments. So I got my first video request comment from Ben, and it was about martial arts and being as a person who trains for martial arts. I believe he said 2 or 3 times a week. He said a friend suggested doing massage therapy as a career, and I was wondering, as someone who trains martial arts 3 times a week, would it help or hinder, being that they're both physical things? So this is a fantastic question because the answer is yes. Would it help being a martial artist? Yes, because ninjas make really good massage therapists, just like ninjas make really good everything else. You know, if you have a really healthy physical body and you're flexible and you know how to move in different ways, and then your job is to massage bodies, you're going to have more body awareness. And so, yes, it will help. But will it hinder? The answer is also yes, because if you're doing MMA, if you're doing Muay Thai, if you're getting kicked in the thigh, if you're getting put in arm bars, if you're doing Kempo, no wait, is Kempo the one? What is the one where your actual job in that martial art? I think it's Kenpo. Is it? There's a type of martial arts where the whole purpose of how you beat the opponent is by physically injuring them with a arm bar or other types of submission holds where you could hyperextend or dislocate their shoulder if they don't tap out. Now, that is a problem, because if you have a hyperextended shoulder or elbow or dislocated ankle or whatever, how the hell are you going to massage? Right? So it's a catch-22. I do feel that massage therapy is a physical job. I do feel that it is like exercise, in the sense that all these people that I am massaging, 90% of them sit on a computer all day, and they're typing and they're working from a computer and they're doing technology-based work. So they have tension in their bodies that is from sitting down, that is from typing, and that is from not getting moving around enough. And then you've got the other 10% of your clients are construction workers or firemen or nurses or doctors or people with a full-time job that make enough money to afford massage and use their body in their job. Therefore, they're on their feet all day long. Waitresses, bartenders, back when we used to have bars and restaurants. But you know what I'm saying? People that are on their feet all day, that are standing up all day, that are running around, that are using their body, that they're bending over and lifting and moving, those people need massage really bad too. Everybody needs massage, but not everybody cares enough, or not everybody's in enough pain to do something about it, or not everybody can afford it. But here's the thing with martial arts specifically. There's a lot of different kinds of martial arts, and you didn't specify which exact type you were referring to. So I'm going to blanket statement that if it's a striking type of martial art where there's hitting involved, like MMA, Kung Fu, all that. I mean, I did a Krav Maga 8-week course, which was really great, by the way. That's a type of self-defense training specifically. So Krav Maga is all about, if someone's attacking you, how do you escape that? But it's really cool, but you can get hurt. If you're going to, even with pads and stuff, if you're kicking and hitting and throwing punches and taking each other down, you could twist your ankle or, get bonked and, But, getting bonked, depending, okay, so the amount of padding that you're using, the how safe this is. If you're, doing, stuff with pads, and the worst thing is you get, you need to wear a cup, you're going to be fine to do a massage. But if the worst thing that you do is spar with someone and you need to wear a tooth guard, you're likely to get injured from that type of martial art. Therefore, you're more likely to bang up your hands, you know, maybe develop like a hyperextension or overuse. You know what I mean? So here's the deal. If you use your hands a ton and you're hitting, that also like compresses your hand and causes like pressure in the joint. And I know that people who do a lot of MMA can develop arthritis later in life from all that impact. So basically, impact sports hurt your joints over time. And if you're someone with really stable joints and you know you've been doing this for years and you have no pain, then great. And the thing is, being a massage therapist will, here's part of that catch-22, it will teach you how to heal yourself from your injuries. So if you got hurt from being hit or getting put in an arm bar and you like pulled your deltoid, you're going to be like, oh, my rear delt is hurt. And you're going to like have the anatomical knowledge to talk to a doctor, talk to a physical therapist, talk to a chiropractor, and talk to your massage therapist about what exactly is messed up in your body, because you can do a bunch of movements and, ooh, when I move this way, it makes it click and pop, or when I move this way, it hurts, but when I move this way, it doesn't hurt. That'll help you know which muscle is hurting, which thing is messed up. So being a massage therapist will make you better at anything that has to do with the human body. So, you know, like, it's a wonderful skill to have, to know all this stuff about the anatomy. But too much hand related stuff, meaning if you're using your hands to fight, what if you injure your hand? Can you massage? If you break your hand or you get injured, like I even just one time like sliced my, can you see the scar? Okay, so this is a stitch that was done at home with super glue. Don't pry apart 2 frozen waffles with a knife. Don't stab towards yourself. Lesson learned. I stabbed my hand right on the crease. That's not a good place because it's constantly moving, so I constantly reopened the wound. And it was deep enough that I probably could have used a stitch. But at the time, I didn't have insurance. So I super glued it shut. And I did a good job. But I couldn't massage with that hand. Now I'm one-handed. Now I'm like, ooh, shit. I could still use my elbow. I could still use my forearm. And I'm a deep tissue specialist, so I use the forearm, this whole area, and a little bit of the pointy of the elbow when I get on the deep tissue. I use my forearms a lot. But if you got injuries on your hand, if you have cuts on your hand, now you have an open wound that could get infected with any germ or virus or friggin' bacteria that person's carrying on their body. So, and vice versa, you could leak plasma onto them. It's not okay to touch anybody with a wound. So you can't just put a Band-Aid on and then expect it to stay in place when you freaking start putting lotion on your hands. So lesson learned, now I garden with gloves and everything. If you injure your hand, that's going to fuck up your ability to massage. I one time hurt my wrist from snowboarding, and I like landed on the ground, and let's just say I fell 100 times on my way down a mountain while terrified of falling on my tailbone again. So instead of bailing to my booty, which is what you're supposed to do, I had already fallen on my booty and it was hurting really bad. So I was really scared. So every time I wiped out, I would wipe out onto my hands, onto my elbow. And it was very, very bad. That's not how you're supposed to wipe out on the snow. So I jammed my wrist, and from jamming my wrist, I felt compression in the joint, and it was sore for like 2 weeks. And I remember, like, I didn't think about it. It wasn't bothering me. And I wasn't doing my 5-minute wrist stretches that you should totally be doing every day. So go check out my video called 5-minute wrist stretches for MTs and PCs. And I wouldn't be thinking about the wrist, and then I would start doing a massage and I'd be putting pressure and pushing forward and I'd be compressing and I'd be like, ooh. And I remember like the clients are like, are you okay? And you're like, yeah, I just hurt my wrist and I just felt, you know. So when you're jacked up, your clients feel terrible about the fact that you're like, you know, so that's a problem. And if you hurt yourself like in your legs or your, you know, if you hurt yourself somewhere else on your body, like your ankle, or you twist it, you know, like say you jammed your knee or something is messed up in another part of your body, you got to stand on that leg. So you can't be a massage therapist if you got a freaking sprained ankle either, because you're on your feet all day. And if you're going to be having a sprained ankle, you got to elevate that shit or it's going to hurt and it's not going to heal very quickly. So if you got a lot of injuries, it's going to be really hard to be using your body for your work. I definitely never realized how much being a massage therapist made me appreciate my body and its health that much more. And also, we're in the land of COVID now, so think about it like that too. Like, if you're sick, you can't massage people. If you're sick, you could sit at home all day with the freaking, if you're on a computer, and you could just blow your nose and have a Kleenex right there, and, you know, like, you could still work on a computer if you're sick. But if you have an illness and your energy's low and you can't think straight and you're coughing or sneezing, you can't do massage. Not ethically, anyway. So, the positives with being a martial artist, like, you know, Tai Chi, I believe, is considered a martial art, and Tai Chi is no impact, right? So if you were doing a different kind of martial art where it's more like dancing, you know, like where if you're learning how to fly through the air and do high kicks, but you're not doing a lot of sparring or a lot of impact with regard to hitting another person, but instead you're just like practicing a bunch of cool moves. Like if you're, you know, learning how to spin a fire staff or you know, you're doing stick fighting, then you could train all day with that shit, and that's just going to make you more limber, more flexible, more strong. Being strong helps. Being limber and flexible helps. Being able to just, you know, being aware of your body is really important, because the more you massage, a lot of it is forward moving, pushing forward, pushing down. And you do develop tension in your shoulders and pecs, just like somebody who works on a computer. So you have to be aware of moving that back. So if you're doing martial arts, you're probably going to be doing a lot more stretching and stuff, which is going to help you be a better massage therapist. And you're going to meet some other people that do body work, so you're going to have friends who can help you out when you hurt yourself. But too much stuff with your hands is an issue. And the thing is, I recognize that too, because I use my hands for everything that I love to do. Everything that I love to do is with my hands. Or I guess I love to do a lot of things like walking out in nature and hiking. And I used to be really big into running, but it was messing up my joints, so I don't do that anymore. I've got some half marathon medals to prove it, but I don't do that shit anymore. So, but again, I'm saying not everything I love to do is with my hands. But what I meant is that I realized at one point that everything that I do creatively for like everything that I could monetize, everything that I could sell is with my hands. Like I'm really good at making food. I'm really good at cooking. I'm really good at making jewelry and beads. I'm good at art, and I can draw, and I love to paint, but I don't consider myself good at painting, but I love to like refurbish furniture. I love gardening. I love to plant plants and mess with plants and trim plants and transplant and create little succulent gardens. And all of that stuff is like hands. You know what I mean? It's all stuff that I do with my hands. And except for this YouTube channel, there we go. I got something that I can do, that I can use my gift of gab. But yeah, I was realizing that like chopping a lot of vegetables and like digging in the garden, I was like, oh man, all this stuff is like physical, and I'm standing up and I'm using my hands. So like when I would overuse my hands and have a ton of clients and have a really busy period of time that I'm just like doing massage day and night, you know, and just whipping it out like 5-6 clients a day, that's too much. I'm never going to go back to that. 3 to 4 clients a day is where I'm at now. That's what feels good in my body now that I've had all these months to reassess. But when I was just working like a dog, you know, doing a Groupon or something, I started to have pain in my hands, probably a little arthritis, like joint swelling and stiffness, waking up with my hands numb, basically nerve impingement was going on, probably up here in my neck. The neck is where the nerves were pinched, and then the hands feel numb. The numbness doesn't come from the hands. It just comes from using these arms. But I wasn't receiving enough massage, and I was doing too much massage, and it was hurting my body, and then I couldn't open jars, you know? Or I'd be stirring my bowl of dough to make cookies, and I'd be like, oh God, this is hurting my forearm. And I'd be like, honey, will you stir this? Now I bought a machine that goes, brrr. But yeah, I definitely recognize that the impact on my hands and my, basically like the elbow down, and the whole arm is being used. You know, you're not like doing a massage like this, you know, your whole arm is involved. And your body, you know, you're like standing in like a lunge. The best position to be in for massaging is like a warrior position. So one foot is back, one foot is forward, and you're doing this. And you're moving from your dantian. You're moving, if you're a martial artist, you'll know what that is. You're moving from your core center. You're moving from your, you know, your hips, and your pelvis is moving. You're not doing this. If you do that, you're gonna fucking have really tight sore shoulders. And if you're relying on your hands to do this, you're gonna get carpal tunnel in your thumbs and stuff. So the trick to be able to have longevity and do this work for a long time is don't injure your hand or your ankle or anything where you can't stand up. Don't injure your lower back. You know, if you hurt any part of your body, it's going to affect not only your martial arts, but your body work, because you're not necessarily going to be able to do it until you're healed. But the trick to being able to do massage therapy for a long time is to use your whole body when you're massaging. You don't just use what I just said is the point that I was trying to make. So you can totally do it. You can totally be a Kung Fu master, Kenpo artist, or even an MMA fighter and do body work, but only if you always win your fights. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you know anybody who needs to learn about this or is curious about this, share this video. Thank you, Ben B, for the question. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And if you are a subscriber, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I know there's a lot of stuff you could be watching on YouTube. So if you're watching me, you freaking rock. Give me a thumbs up so I know that you think I rock too. And yeah, leave a comment if you have a question you want me to make a video about. Have a beautiful day. And don't hurt yourself if you can.